Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Endless TBR. My name is Christian, and this is my YouTube channel where I love to talk about books. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to click on this video, where I want to share the books that I plan on reading in January of 2026, as well as share with y'all some book pickups that I had towards the beginning of this month. I was very lucky. I got some gift cards and some cash for Christmas. My family knows I like to buy books a lot, so I got a couple gift cards to my local Books a Million, and I was able to grab a couple books that I'm really excited to share with y'all. But before I get into that, let's talk about what I want to read in January of 2026. I have some awesome books planned out. Some of these are going to be carryovers from December. I picked off a little more than I could chew with my December TBR video. So there's a few books on here that are carryovers from last month. And then I have some new books as well that I want to share. And hopefully I'm going to be able to get to all of them this month. Actually, starting tomorrow, I'm going on a nice little 7-day PTO from work. I'm going on a cruise. So I'm going to bring some books with me, and it'll be a nice, peaceful environment where I can hopefully read a bunch and knock some of these books out. So fingers crossed. But I got a nice stack of books here that I'm really excited to get into. So let's talk about first what I'm reading currently. Right now, I am finishing up Inkspell by, I finally looked up how to pronounce her name. It is Cornelia Funke. She is German. I've been saying funky my entire life. So like 25 years now, I've been saying funky. It is Cornelia Funke. So now I know. I guess better late than never. But I am about 50 pages left. There's my bookmark. Got 50 pages left in this one, and I am enjoying this one a lot more than the first one. I remember enjoying the first two Inkheart books, but I wasn't prepared for how much I would enjoy Inkspell over Inkheart. So that's been a lot of fun, and hopefully I'm going to finish this within the next couple hours after filming this video. So that is Inkspell. And then the audiobook that I'm currently listening to is called The Bad Weather Friend by Dean Koontz. I said in my goals of 2026 video, I wanted to read some more horror. Dean Koontz was somebody that was on that list. And so what I did was I went on Kindle and I just typed in Dean Koontz's name, and I said, I'm just going to pick the very first book that comes out. Usually I do a little like research and I try to pick the most highly rated book by the author as my first read. But I was like, I'm just going to pick the very first one that pops up at the top of the list. I picked The Bad Weather Friend. I'm realizing now that it was probably not the best idea not to do any research. This book is okay at best. I'm not really enjoying it. I'm going to go and try a different Dean Koontz book. I found one that is highly recommended by a lot of people. It's called Intensity. So I think that's the next one that I'm going to try out by him. But what I've learned is that The Bad Weather Friend is kind of different than his normal writing style. It's like if you know a lot about Stephen King as like the king of horror, and you've never read a book by him before, and then you blind pick up Fairy Tale as your first Stephen King book, and you're kind of like, wait a second, this isn't what I was expecting. Based off of what I've seen about some reviews and like talks about Kuntz's book, the Bad Weather Friend is kind of like that. So I picked a weird one to start off with him. It's fine. It's just it's not my style, and I'm not enjoying it too much. I'll talk a little bit more about it once I finish it and I can give my full thoughts on it. But I'm about 80% of the way through listening to that. So once I finish that, I'm going to be on the search for Intensity because I've heard that one's really good. So that is the audiobook I'm currently listening to. More books on my physical TBR. We have, of course, Ink Death, which is the third and final of the Ink World books by Cornelia Funke. So I have that one right here. This one's quite large. These books have slowly been getting bigger. This one is almost 800 pages. So this will be a nice long read for me right there. And then some more transitions over from my December TBR. We have Navigators of Dune, the third and final book in the Schools of Dune trilogy. Then we have another, The Heretics of Dune by Frank Herbert. This one I'm excited for because I've I know there's a huge time gap, and I know that this one's really different from his other Dune books. I've also kind of heard that the consensus is this is a lot of people's least favorite in Frank Herbert's works. So I'm excited to get into it to see what I think. But that is Heretics of Dune. And then my Stephen King book for the month is going to be The Dead Zone, a book that I was going to try to read in December, but just didn't get around to it. So I'm going in blind on this one. I don't know what it's about, and I find it's best to do that with Stephen King books. I like going in blind just to be surprised by what he's written. So that is The Dead Zone right there. And then a few other books that I want to read this month. My nostalgia pick is going to be Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. This is a book that I included in my 8 books I want to reread in 2026 video I did a couple weeks ago. This is a book that I read back in like late middle school, early high school that I have really fond memories of. So I'm excited to finally get into this. One of my major reading goals of 2026 is to read all the Robert Langdon books. So I'm starting it off in the first month with Angels and Demons. And then I want to try to read F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. This is a book that I talked about a couple months ago as one I want to read in the near future. And so I figured now is about the time to get into it. It's been on my shelf for a while, and I know it's a classic that a lot of people love. I do remember reading it back in, I think, middle school. It was a required reading book, but I don't remember too much about it. I just remember there's a party at the beginning, I think, and we are introduced to the Great Gatsby, and he's like this larger than life style character. So I'm excited to get into this because I know it's one that's highly regarded that a lot of people love. And then finally, I have this book here. This was actually one I picked up just a couple days ago, but I'm going to try to read it in January because it's one of my favorite authors, and that is The Sorrow Stones by Felix Blackwell. I love Felix Blackwell. I've talked a lot about him on my channel. He's one of my favorite authors of all time, and I was not expecting this book to come out. I thought he wasn't really writing anymore, and then lo and behold, I see in the new releases section on Kindle this book came out, so I had to buy a physical copy of it because I love his writing so much. And this cover is so creepy. I have no idea what this book is about either, so I'm excited to get into it. And then one other book, I don't plan on finishing it this month. I actually don't even know if I plan on finishing it within the next like 3 to 6 months, but I do want to start working on it. And that is my H.P. Lovecraft classic collection that I purchased. This is a 900 some page tome, and I just want to start getting into Lovecraft. It includes, as far as I know, most or all of his written stories. So I'm excited to get into this and start chipping away. I think this is going to be a long-term project for me where I kind of read a short story here, there, and work on it for the next, like I said, probably 3 to 6 months. I imagine it'll take me to get through all of this. So excited to get into that. So those are things that I am reading in January of 2026. Now let me share a couple book pickups that I got. I got about like $50 or so worth of gift cards. I went a little over that, as you'll see, and spent some of my own money as well. But these are some book pickups that I got recently. So the first one is one I was not expecting to buy, but I saw this trilogy on sale in a box set and figured I'd get it. And that is the Wild Robot books right here by Peter Brown. This is a children's series. So we got the Wild Robot, and then we have the Wild Robot Escapes and the Wild Robot Protects. And the only reason I got this series was it was on sale for pretty cheap, and I saw the Wild Robot movie earlier this year and just thought it was so cute and so adorable. And so I saw these on the shelf and I was like, you know what? I'll pick it up. They're all very highly rated on Goodreads, so I'm excited to check out why people love them. And they're very easy books. Like each of these books should probably take me no more than like an hour or two to get through. Pretty short amount of pages and big print. So that is the Wild Robot trilogy right there. I picked up recently. Then we have a book that was actually recommended to me by a comment on one of my videos in this channel when I said I was looking for like oceanic horror, and that is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I've actually heard a lot of people talk about how great this book is. When I go on like r/horror lit on Reddit, anytime there's anybody that mentions like ocean horror or like anything around like that area, like a water horror, this book always comes up, Into the Drowning Deep. So I'm excited to get into this one. And then adding on to my Lovecraft collection that I purchased not too long ago, I saw this one in BAM as well, and so I decided to pick it up, and that is the classic Edgar Allan Poe collection, another huge one. Let's see how many pages this one is. This is uh, about 860 pages, so another massive one. But Edgar Allan Poe was one of the authors on my goals for 2026 of authors that I would like to read more of. And so when I saw this collection on the shelves, I knew I had to pick it up. And these are really cheap. This and the H.P. Lovecraft collection book are like the same type of collection. And this whole thing is only $20. And then when you account in the discount for my membership, it was like $18, $17 for this entire thing that includes like so much of their collected work. So really excited to get into this one. I'm probably not going to start this until I finish the Lovecraft collection. So, probably closer to halfway through the year, but at least now I own it and I can start to chip away at some Edgar Allan Poe. So that is exciting. And then the last two pickups I have here, one is book that I've seen all over the place, and a friend of mine recently finished, and she recommended it. And that is this book called Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu, I think is how you pronounce their name. I have no idea what this book is about, but I saw it. It was on sale as part of the big book sale that BAM is having right now, and so I decided to grab it. So I'm excited for this one. It's another massive book. Let's see here. It is just over 1,000 pages. So, but it came highly recommended to me by a friend of mine. She said it was one of the best books that she's read recently. So I saw it and wanted to pick it up. And then the last book that I grabbed was King Sorrow by Joe Hill, which was also on sale. I got both of these books for like under 20 bucks, which for the hardcover editions and being brand new and for how big they are, because this book's also like 850 pages. I was really excited to see this as part of the book sale, and so I grabbed it. And now I own all of Joe Hill's books again. I'm probably gonna save this one for last. I've heard a lot of people say that this is their favorite Joe Hill, and so I think I want to get through all of his other books that I haven't read first and then tackle this one. But this will definitely be a 2026 read, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I saw it on the shelves on sale and I was like, well, gonna pick that up because because I've wanted it since it came out just like a month or two ago. So that is King Sorrow by Joe Hill there. But that is it. That's all for this video. So those are some books that I plan on reading, some books that I picked up, which hopefully I can get to most of those pretty soon because I'm super stoked for all of them. Let me know down in the comments what books you're planning on reading this month and how your TBR is looking for the rest of the year. If you have any books that you're super excited to get into to 2026 or any series you want to start, let me know down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. My name is Christian. This is the Endless TBR. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace out.